So it's 1 o'clock here on the good old East Coast. I had to film a parade this morning. That's why I wasn't here at the normal time. I was filming a parade down in the local community at 10 o'clock this morning, and I was there till probably 12 o'clock or so. And I said, I'll come back and do a live stream. What the heck? Instead of skipping the live stream, I just rescheduled it for 1 o'clock. I think we're doing good. Let's go over there and just check. Yeah, I'm just going to chat. There we go. First comment. Our first comment from our friend Sean Beckner. Good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon. Normally it's morning. Today it's afternoon. And here's my YouTube check. YouTube. Good old YouTube. YouTube sent me a check. I got a check from YouTube. I never started this thinking about that, but I got my first check from YouTube, so that's pretty cool. Absolutely. Let me just get organized here. Get organized. A little bit out of normal because normally it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Today it's 1 o'clock for me, so it's 3 hours later. So I've been seeing a lot of reports. About bugs in 10.8. I mean, a lot. More than usual? No, not really. Not for a full point update. Let me just see. Sometimes, let me just check one thing real quick. Check was good. Absolutely. Yeah, so we got a bunch of people watching already over there on X. Let me see how many over there is on X. So yeah, the most right now are on YouTube. Facebook doesn't report anything. Facebook has 0 live viewers, but I know that's not accurate. And then X has a bunch of viewers as well. There's our friend, West Doc Online, sorry. West Doc Online. We get a different, this is Chuck Braverman, West Doc Online. We interviewed him at NAB, and we talk to him year-round. Roz at Inspire Video, thank you very much. Hello, Richard. That's great. It's so weird that Facebook doesn't register in Ecamm Live how many live viewers there are, but there's about half a dozen or more over there on Facebook, but it just doesn't register on Ecamm Live for some reason. X does and YouTube does. So one thing I want to know, I'm going to do reporting of the bugs that I've seen, and I want you to chime in if you also have seen bugs, if you have seen them. That's what I want to talk about today, and anything else Final Cut Pro related as well. And I just got coffee under the wire, with my friend Snoopy. Tell us what the bugs are. Okay, I'm going to get started on the bugs, and then we're going to go to Apple discussions and some other places and talk about the bugs. Now, here's number one. Always back up your copy of Final Cut Pro before you update. There's, at this point, 13 years in, and you don't know to back up your copy of Final Cut Pro before you update, that's a rookie mistake. You really have to back up your copy of Final Cut Pro before you back up. You also have to back up your libraries. So back up your copy of Final Cut Pro, back up your important libraries, whatever project you're working on now. If you have a project you're not working, you haven't worked on for 6 months, that shouldn't pop up to update. And of course, don't update it. Do not update it to 10.8. Wait till the bugs get worked out. There's a couple of bugs. Let me pull up my notes. There's a couple of specific bugs that I know of. Let me see what's going on here with our bug report. Let me get to my right note. Oh, there's a couple of them. Do you have any plans to mention bugs on Final Cut Camera app today? You mention them. I'm not using Final Cut Camera app because of a few things. Number one, you can't switch the camera live. You can't change lenses or cameras while you're recording. Okay? I need that. I use that all the time. I press the record button and I switch cameras. Today at the parade, I constantly switched between the 4 different lenses. 1x, 2x, ultra wide, and 5x. Constantly, while I'm recording. Constantly, we're changing those different cameras. You can't do that in Final Cut Camera. That's number one. Number two, you only have one flavor of Apple Log. One flavor of Apple Log. The only flavor of Apple Log that you have with Final Cut Camera is ProRes HQ, which is really good quality. Okay. It's also very, very big file sizes. And the Blackmagic Camera app records 6 or 7 flavors of Apple Log. So the Blackmagic Camera app can record ProRes Proxy, ProRes LT, ProRes Regular, ProRes HQ, and ProRes, the highest level of ProRes. And it can record Apple Log H.264 and H.265. How come the Black Camera app can do that? And the new Kino app can also do that. And Final Cut Camera can only record one flavor of Apple Log. I use Apple Log anytime I record that I can. Anytime I record, I use Apple Log. I absolutely love Apple Log. It's better than the native camera color profile codec. So one flavor of Apple Log, one flavor on the Final Cut Camera app. You can't change cameras while it's while you're recording live. I won't use an app that doesn't do that. Number 3, there's no support for LUTs. You can't preview Apple Log with a LUT. You can't bake a LUT into Apple Log if you wanted to bake it in. And you can't import LUTs. Is that what a pro camera app it can do? No, all of them can do it. Blackmagic Camera app can do it. And this new one, Kino, K-I-N-O, whatever that is, or Kino, that one also can do it. And there's a couple of other apps that let you preview, etc., LUTs. You can't do that on the Final Cut Camera app, so I won't use it. I won't use it under any circumstances. The native Apple Camera app can indeed switch cameras while recording live. I do it all the time. And the native camera app does the best job of switching live. Blackmagic Camera app has a 1 or 2 frame black transition sometimes when it switches cameras. The native camera app does a fantastic job. Apple's native camera app does a fantastic job of switching cameras and lenses while you're recording live. Good evening from Denmark. Hello from New Jersey. Nice surprise to find you this PM. The keyframe editor in motion is not working properly. Wow. I didn't know about that. Particle emitters, for example, will not track move with precision. That's a great notice there. Darius News. First version limitations. I agree, but I want to let them know that they have to fix these things. Okay? Now, the native camera app, I use it a lot, but if I'm doing serious long-form recording, I won't use it because it only has ProRes HQ for Apple Log if I'm going to shoot Apple Log. The Blackmagic camera app, I can shoot H.264 or H.265 and still be Apple Log. I agree. No, I'm not. I'm just saying. But why would I use that when I have better options? I'm calling Final Cut Camera Blackmagic Camera Junior because that's what it is. It's Blackmagic Camera Junior. Of course, I expect it to improve, but I want those things. I want the ability to record H.264 Apple Log, H.265 Apple Log, different flavors of ProRes Apple Log. I want to switch live while recording, and I want to be able to use LUTs, import LUTs, bake a LUT in if I want to, or preview with a LUT and import LUTs. Those are absolute deal breakers for me. I'm recording in ProRes LT and have not found a way to decrease the file rendering in Final Cut Pro to less than LT, so why not record in the same format? Yes, if you're going to record ProRes LT in your project, you should be able to record Apple Log on your camera app. LT version. Why not? Why not? But it's a nice first try. Its real benefit is using it with the Final Cut iPad Multicam live Multicam. That's the real benefit for Final Cut Camera. And it does an exceptional job with that. I agree the lack of those features are critical. I guess the app is for new generation of creators or iPad creators, as Apple says. That's why those pro features are missing. I would agree with that if it was only to be used with Final Cut iPad. But they made it for use in all these iPhones that you don't need Final Cut iPad. Once again, Final Cut Camera really shines with live multicam, with Final Cut iPad. That's what it really was developed for, and it does an excellent job there. But if you don't have Final Cut iPad and you're just using it as a standalone app on your phone, it's really mid-level compared to Blackmagic Camera, which is free, and Kino. Is it Kino or Kino? Kino, Kino, that new app, which was $9, perpetual license for $9. So compared to those two are definitely steps above Final Cut Camera, just using it as a camera app. Looking for Apple Log settings in Blackmagic for iPhone. They're there. You have to do two settings, Chuck. You have to, let me pull it up here for you. You have to, let me pull it up because I use it all the time. So you have to do two settings. Go to the settings menu and you have to do codec. You have to do codec. I have mine set to HEVC. That's the first step. And then you have to do, let me see, record. Oh, under record, You have codec, resolution 4K, color space. Under color space, thank you very much for the thumbs up. Thanks for watching and adding to the viewer count. Thank you for watching and adding to my viewer count. It's appreciated. So under record, go to color space, and there you have the option of Apple Log HDR under color space. Now, under codec, HEVC H.265. So I'm recording in H.265 Apple Log and the Blackmagic camera app. It's two separate settings. Yes, the app itself is very well designed. It's just missing some basic features. These are not basic features. It's missing some great features that pros need. You have Apple Log and you don't have the ability to preview it with a LUT? Come on. Come on. The pros need that. They need the LUTs. I guarantee you Apple will continue to use Blackmagic camera app for their presentations until they get these features. I'm sure if you're doing a film, you would record ProRes HQ or something in Apple Log. But most of the stuff I'm doing just on YouTube and stuff, I don't need that high a data rate. And it looks fine. Apple Log still looks good in H.264 or H.265 or even ProRes LT. It looks really, really good. Oh, you need an iPhone 15. Chuck, iPhone 15. That's why you're not seeing Apple Log. They could have probably implemented it since Kino, and Blackmagic do it. I think it doesn't work well with Multicam, which might be what they're waiting on. Perfect explanation. But I'm just saying it's not at the level of Blackmagic camera and Kino. Those two are higher level camera apps. Now, you can't use those two when you're doing live multicam on the iPad Pro. Now, I have an iPad Pro. Absolutely love it. I've been editing a lot of my videos, short videos, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, with LumaFusion on my iPad Pro. Love it. It's different than editing a more complicated project on my MacBook Pro. Now, for example, I just did a video where I assembled a tree, an oak tree, with a crane. That was filmed with my DJI Action 4. And I did everything in LumaFusion until I had to mask something out. And it was at an angle. And it was just simple to do in Final Cut Pro. So I exported the movie out of LumaFusion, took it into Final Cut Pro, and did my mask, which is simple to do in Final Cut on something. So as much as I like LumaFusion, and I like it a lot, and Blackmagic, DaVinci Resolve, and Final Cut Pro, I use one of those three, sometimes a combination of the two, depending on what the project is. I have a movie coming out. It's being played July the 20th, I think, or something like that, at the American Film Institute Theater, the Silver Theater in Silver Spring, Maryland. It's over a 2-hour documentary that I have coming up in a theater. That was done entirely in Final Cut Pro because it started in Final Cut Pro, and I haven't updated to 10.8 for that project, and I'm not going to. I'm on 10.7.1, and I'm not going any further because this is going to be an ongoing project. We've shown it once a year ago, but We're showing he had his second showing in July. Why do anything on iPad when you have a big boy computer? I'll tell you why, Chuck. The big boy computer is for heavy duty, long form, complicated projects. And I said this last week. I use LumaFusion on the iPad Pro, Final Cut only on the Mac. I don't use it on the iPad Pro because of the subscription model. If they give us the option to buy it, I would buy it. I'm not going to subscribe to it. Not going to do it. Don't need it. I got the full version of Final Cut Pro. It's much better. 3,000 plugins, connects to my RAIDs, yada, yada, yada. And then I have Blackmagic Resolve, DaVinci Resolve. Anything that needs captioning, anything I have to text-based edit, it goes to Resolve. And I have 1 hour, 2 hour videos, take it into Resolve, text-based edit it, do a rough cut just via text. If I want to caption it, I can caption it. And then I might spit that out. Sometimes I'll take it back to Final Cut. Sometimes I'll just do DaVinci Resolve. Here's why I like to use the iPad. Because it's different. It's different. It's a different way of editing. Your mind's a little different. It's touch-based. You got the pencil. And I use it for 5 and 10-minute videos. Here's what I said recently. 3 NLEs I use: LumaFusion, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve. LumaFusion's like riding a motorcycle. Final Cut is like riding a sports car. It's fast and it maneuvers very well. DaVinci Resolve is like driving a heavy-duty truck. All right? I have my motorcycle license. I don't have a sports car, but I have a car, SUV, and I have a trailer that hooks to the SUV if I need it, like a heavy-duty truck, to haul a ladder, for example, to go to the dump, and for example. I can't do that with my car. I can't do that with Final Cut Pro. So I need something heavier duty. So all 3 of them. But they're different ways of editing. They are different ways of editing. And I really, really like LumaFusion on the iPad Pro. It's fun. It's fast. I can use the pencil for things. Like I said, LumaFusion is a motorcycle. Final Cut Pro is a sports car. DaVinci Resolve is like a heavy-duty truck. I use all 3 of those, depending on the project. But right now, I do a lot of my editing in LumaFusion because it's different. It's a different way of editing, and I enjoy it. This might be off topic, but how do you do your DJI Mic 2 settings? What's your receiver levels and transmitter levels set to? So I keep them up high. 8, something like that. So I keep them pretty high. As an aside, chatting about plugins, I tested Cinestudio on a project, canceled the subscription and believing had no further edits. Customer came back for a change and the effect was removed. I hate that when they do that. I hate when you have to pay or they won't let you use the product that you used in the past. I won't support any plugin that does that. I won't support any manufacturer that does that. Okay? Won't do it. A bit shocking, but was able to do a workaround. I have been using Final Cut Pro since version 1. Me too. And I'm still learning every day. I don't have the bandwidth for Resolve or any other muscle memory on Final Cut Pro. I completely understand that. I don't have the time to learn Motion. I'm not going to learn Motion, besides a few basic things. I spent all my time in Final Cut, LumaFusion, Resolve, and Logic Pro. I'm not going to spend time in After Effects. I'm not going to spend time in Fusion with Blackmagic. I'm not going to even go to their audio thing because I use Logic so much. But I like all three of those. I like DaVinci Resolve, I like LumaFusion, and I like Final Cut Pro. I completely understand if you don't want to, though. I wish this subscription was not so expensive on Cine Studio. So I've noticed that the price of plugins is going up. Plugin manufacturers, let me tell you something. I'm not paying $100 for a plugin. I'm not going to do that. I already have 2,500 plugins. Buy them on sale or whatever. Your prices are getting ridiculous. Your prices are getting way, way out of proportion to what you offer, especially in this case, in a studio, that you don't let the person who paid the subscription edit their project that they had to do a revision on. Not interested in your product to do stuff like that. Saying in, Final Cut for iPad is perfect for ENG, run and gun, news gathering, one iPhone, and a small bag of accessories. Any network with a satellite microwave truck is 99% less expensive. You can also do that with LumaFusion on the iPad, except you don't have to pay a subscription for the rest of your life for Final Cut on the iPad. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to pay a subscription to Apple for Final Cut iPad. I ain't going to do it. I got LumaFusion. I pay $29 for it, and it's perpetual. The only thing the LumaFusion doesn't have right now is the live multicam, but I wouldn't be using that. Yes, there you go. The big problem is the subscription model. Thank you. Absolutely. It's the subscription model, Apple. Listen to your customers. I've been a customer for a long time. You can keep the subscription model, but give people the option to do a perpetual license, a one-time purchase. Say it's good for 2 years worth of updates. After 2 years, you got to buy it again. That's fine. I'm not going to subscribe to it. I am not going to do that. If I could buy it, I would buy it, and then I would get familiar with it. Your subscription model, it's very, very reasonable. $4.99 a month is very reasonable. The problem is subscriptions are like this. They're all over the place. I'm tired of subscriptions. You don't need to be a subscription, Apple. You got enough money in Tim Cook's couch to fund Final Cut iPad for 10 years. You don't need a subscription. That's a bad, bad way to go. My son Max is an audio mixer. If I can't fix it, Pro Tools is an excellent, excellent product. It's an industry standard product. But the way you're not going to go outside of Final Cut Pro, Chuck, I'm not going to learn Pro Tools. I already know Logic very, very well. I'm not going to spend time learning Pro Tools. I don't need it for anything that I do. Logic Pro is completely fine, and I love Logic Pro. If I was in the job market and going out there and trying to sell myself, I would learn Pro Tools. I would learn it. But LumaFusion isn't, you know how to edit. I know how to edit. I enjoy LumaFusion a lot. I also do enjoy DaVinci Resolve. Especially text-based editing is a game changer for editing, long form. It's an absolute game changer. If you have a 2-hour cut and you want to get that down to 30 minutes, the only way you can do that, unless you have like lumberjack systems in Final Cut, is you got to listen to the entire 2 hours and make your selects. When I bring it into DaVinci Resolve, I don't have to listen to it for 2 hours. I can look at a paragraph and just delete the whole paragraph. I can look at a paragraph, delete this paragraph, delete this paragraph, delete this paragraph, and it's deleted in the timeline. I don't have to listen to it in real time in order to make decisions. I can look visually at the text, cut, paste, move things around, and delete things. Text-based editing is a complete game changer. DaVinci Resolve, Studio, it's built in. So I use all three, and I'm not going to stop using all three. So right before I went on, we're going to talk about bugs in a minute. Right before I went on, I went down to the parade. I filmed that. That was a lot of fun. I'm going to put that video together, and I'm going to put it out on probably Wednesday because 29th is too early for the 4th of July. Maybe I should try that. What about importing into Final Cut Pro Multicam after Resolve Edit? I think XML. I think it goes back and forth. So the thing I like about text-based editing, I can do a rough cut very fast, not real time. I can look at paragraphs, don't want this, this is out of touch. I can also just do a select of text once it's transcribed and drop that into a timeline. So I can go through these paragraphs of text, select this, drop it in, select this, drop it in, select this, drop it in. You can't edit faster than text-based editing for long form. 2 hours, I can cut it down to 15 minutes and a half hour. If you don't use text-based editing, you have to listen to the entire 2 hours to do editing. You have to listen in real time, or if you want to do double time or whatever. Text-based editing is a game-changing, modern way of editing. Now, I expect Final Cut to get that. Final Cut 11 or 8.5, 10.8.5, whatever the Final Cut Pro team. By the way, we want to thank the Final Cut Pro team for doing a great job so far, but they need to fix these bugs in 10.8. They need to fix these bugs. But I expect text-based editing to be coming in one of the next major versions of Final Cut. Could be Final Cut 11, could be Final Cut 10.8.5, whatever they want to call it does make a difference. I think it's going to be Final Cut 11 at the Creative Summit in November. So you said you want to try that. What about importing into Final Cut Multicam after Resolve Edit? I don't know how the Multicam works, but the basic edit, I haven't done a Multicam in Resolve, but I'm not sure how the text-based editing works, if it works with Multicam. I don't know. I haven't tried it. It's a good question. I edited something that was pretty easy on LumaFusion on my iPhone while on the subway, faster than waiting to get to my Mac. Can't wait till LF gets auto transcriptions. So that's one of the other things about LumaFusion. I can edit just like Chris Smith said. I can edit in LumaFusion on my phone. You can't do that on Final Cut iPad. Can't do it. I'm on the subway, I have the media, or I have a little hard drive attached, plug it in, do my edits, and believe me, it's very effective, especially for being portable. So that's another reason I like LumaFusion. Final Cut doesn't work on the phone. Apple, $99 for a perpetual license and 2 years of all updates, upgrades. After 2 years, most people will be willing to pay something like $99 for upgrades and new versions. Bug fixes always free. I agree. 99 bucks though, I would say I want 3 to 5 years of free updates. 2 years, that's a little expensive for just 2 years. If they said a minimum of 2 years, they might go 3 or 4 or 5. That's fine. But I agree. If you want, they did Final Cut for iPad at $4.99 a month, which is excellent price. I'm not complaining about the price. It's not about the money. It's the principle that you're doing a subscription when it's not necessary. They did it to make an entry-level version, cheap version of Final Cut. That's the reason they did it. Some people, students, think $2.99 is too much money. Well, students can get it for $1.99. They can get Logic, Final Cut, Motion, Compressor, and Live Stage for $1.99. $199. I don't think that's too much money when you're spending $6 for a cup of coffee 1 or 2 times per day. And you're buying this and you're buying that and you're buying $1,500 for an iPhone, and I paid almost $2,000 for my iPad Pro. I don't think $199 is that much money. But anyway, they wanted to do an entry-level version of Final Cut. So they did Final Cut iPad. It's an entry-level version of Final Cut. It's not as powerful as Final Cut on the Mac. They seem to be going in different directions, Final Cut on Mac and Final Cut on iPad. If you looked at the last list of features in the update, you can see it. They're going in different directions. Live Multicam, it's on the iPad. It's not on the Mac. Writing on screen, it's on the iPad. It's not on the Mac. Whatever other features they have, they're going in different directions. Look at the list of things that they announced back in May for Final Cut Pro 10.8 and Final Cut iPad. There are no common features between those two major updates. 0 common features. They're going this way. They're splitting, which is fine. I'm not complaining about that. But Final Cut Pro on the Mac is the best by a large margin. I have 2,500 plugins that I've spent, that I like, that I use all the time on the Mac. How many plugins does Final Cut for iPad have? 0. They haven't got the plugin situation straightened out for iPad OS. So I'm not going to give up those plugins. I'm not going to buy them again either. I refuse to pay for them again. I got them on the Mac. The other thing about the Mac is I'm plugged into my 56 terabyte RAID 5. I can't plug into that on the iPad because there's no drivers for it, and I need drivers for it. That's another reason I'm not doing it. Plus, there's 50 other features that Final Cut iPad doesn't have that Final Cut Pro does have. Now, there's also features writing on the screen. Very cool. Live Multicam, if you need that. Very cool. They're on the iPad version. They're not on the Mac version. They're going in different directions with this. Final Cut iPad is a very cool app. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not going to pay the subscription. The subscription is a big no-no for me. I'm just not going to do it. I got LumaFusion. It's a great app. Apple featured LumaFusion 2 or 3 times in their different presentations. So here's a couple of bugs that we've seen in 10.8. Now I'm saying we're going to see, let me pull this up. Let me just look at this for a second. There's our backyard. Beautiful, beautiful green, middle of summer. Middle of summer, very cool. Let me pull this up. Where is that? Ah, here we go. Who's on first? I think we can get rid of that. Let's put this up. This is what I think we're going to get next week or the following week. We're going to get 10.8.01 bug fix. Now, I know a lot of people have said, Apple's not going to do that. Apple's not going to put out a bug fix in 2 weeks. You're not paying attention. Last year, they put out a bug fix in 2 weeks, and they did a second bug fix in 2 weeks and 2 days. They absolutely can put out a bug fix in 2 weeks because they did it last year. They did it last year. Let me pull these up. Oh, that's right. I can't. Boy, that's weird. Cancel. That's odd. Very odd. Hold on a second. I'm trying to get this to work. I always forget that I don't have, don't save, get rid of this, get rid of that. Hold on a second. Don't save. I still haven't gotten copy. I still have not gotten the right combination for one of my apps in Sonoma. Still have not gotten that. Text color, white. Let's do 1415 add. So that's not it. Let me go over here. Let me take this over. Let's do 10.8 bug fix. Actually, I'm going to turn that off. Turn this on. 24, save. Okay. 2 weeks is the fastest bug fix so far, which would be next week for 10.8. 2 weeks. 10.6.7 was July 18th, 2023. 10.6.8, August the 1st, 2023. 2 weeks later, they put out a bug fix. 2 weeks later, they put out a bug fix. The second instance, 10.6.9, Tuesday, September the 19th, 2023. 10.6.10, Thursday, October the 5th, 2023. 2 weeks and 2 days. So they absolutely do bug fixes in 2 weeks. And that was just last year. That was just last year. I see on the App Store that LumaFusion for iPhone lets you export to Final Cut Pro $29.99. Is it one charge for both iPhone and iPad? It is one charge for both. iPhone, iPad, Android, and some. Oh, it also works on M1 Macs. LumaFusion for iPad. No, the LumaFusion iOS app also works if you have an M1 Mac. So all those versions, iPhone, iPad, Android, Chromebooks, M1 Macs, for one price. Same version works on across all those devices. Now, I definitely don't recommend Chromebooks. That's the worst. I don't even know about Android. I mean, I've never owned an Android phone, and I have no intentions of buying one. But one price works across all of those. Now, little bit of advice, it goes on sale at least twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, and you get LumaFusion for $19, $20, and you get the export FCP XML export for $19. I have that. I have the Multicam, which is also an add-on pack. Once again, it goes on sale, and they're coming out with version 5 with a new add-on pack sometime this summer. Version 5 is free for LumaFusion owners. The add-on pack, I don't know what it is, $19 maybe, something like that. So if you can wait, it'll go on sale, I would say, for Black Friday, Thursday, for Thanksgiving. So if you want to wait, you get it for less expensive. They had it on sale, LumaFusion on sale for $19, and I think the add-on packs were, some of them were $9, I believe. That was right before the iPad Apple iPad announcement when they announced Final Cut iPad 2. It stopped the day before that Apple event. So they were trying to get people $19 for LumaFusion? Come on. There's been no additional charge except for add-on packs if you want those, since you pay $19 and you have it. But it's not on sale right now, but I expect it to go on sale Black Friday, probably around before Christmas. It'll go on sale again. That's what I suspect. And yes, it works across all your devices. So let me talk about the bugs that the one bug that I've seen. Well, let's talk about all the bugs. Okay, here's one. Here's one of the bugs. Let me take this off. This person said, have a problem with Final Cut 10.8 where MTS files cannot play sound, and Final Cut Pro 10.7 worked fine. So this, I haven't seen this one repeated, but here's one of the bugs. Here's one of the bugs I've seen repeated. But what is the main one? Oh, the main one that I've seen is complained about is you can't scrub the audio one frame at a time in 10.8 with the arrow keys. You can't scrub the audio one frame at a time with the arrow keys in 10.8. But we have a temporary solution for that. Don't hover your mouse over the timeline. Take your mouse pointer and put it over the browser or the viewer or some other window, not the timeline. Apparently, if you don't have the mouse pointer over the timeline, you can scrub audio with the arrow keys. Now, apparently, a lot of people do that. I personally have never done that. I scrub audio, but I just do it with the mouse manually. But apparently people do that with their arrow keys, and it doesn't work if the mouse is hovered over the timeline. Don't hover over the timeline. It's not a solution. It's just a temporary fix until they get us 10.8.01. Boy, I really like coffee. Good coffee. Good quality coffee. All right, let's just see here. I'm just going to check on our... Yeah, we've got about equal number of people watching over there on X and YouTube. Absolutely, that's very, very cool. Lots of people watching. Lots of people watching today. So if you don't normally watch this time of the day, like I said, I had a situation where I was filming this morning. Let me just pull up a couple of these. Oh, that's interesting. I shot that in log, so that's not going to work. Not going to do that. Let's see what this, not going to do that. I'm going to see if I can find some video, just a tidbit for you. All right, not there. Oh, yeah, there we go. We'll do this one. Where did that go? There it is. No. That's aggravating. Somehow I got to switch this. Let me switch this right now because it's aggravating. LumaFusion has taken over my MP4 files. When I double click on, instead of opening up in QuickTime Player, I got to switch that right now. Let's see here. Go to Get Info. Application LumaFusion. I don't want it to be LumaFusion. How do I change that in Custom icon. That is a pain in the butt. Preview, open with. There it is, open with. So right now, it's opening with, let me see what it says. I know it's LumaFusion. So if you don't know, let me show you. Let me go over here. If you don't know about this, if you have an app, if you have an app that's opening up, like right now when I double click on MP4s, it says open with, and LumaFusion changed. It changed that. So I don't want that. I want it to be QuickTime Player. Now, once I change this file, it's a DJI file, MP4, to QuickTime Player, go here, and it says change all. So I want to change all the MP4s, get them away from LumaFusion, and now the file will be opened in QuickTime. The even changed it. Let's see if that works. Yeah, there we go. Let me pull this down here. Let me see something here. All right. So this is the parade. This is my DJI action cam. Sometimes my gimbal gets in the way, but this is the action cam. This is the parade I went to this morning. Happy 4th.
Hey, I see you around a lot. Do you have like a place where you post all your stuff?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
All right.
YouTube, Facebook.
Cool.
Every place. They're all at Richard Taylor TV.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good to see you.
Yep. You too.
Are you Richard Taylor?
Yes.
Okay, you know, my mom was looking for your live stream.
Which one?
The 4th of July one, the Freedom Ring on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. It's not up yet.
Sure, okay.
I'm going to put it up later this week.
Oh, sure, because she watched it live last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and I was like, I think he's usually...
Welcome.
Good to see you.
Yep. You too. People stop and ask about the video when it's coming
you know,
out.
my mom was looking for your live stream.
Which one?
The 4th of July one, the Freedom Ring on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. It's not up yet.
Sure, okay.
I'm going to put it up later this week.
Oh, sure, because she watched it live last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and I was like, I think he's usually here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, awesome.
I'm going to film today, and I'm going to put it together before the 4th.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
So that's just somebody that asked about, well, they asked about if I was streaming live. No, a lot of times I streamed live, but I didn't this morning because it's too far away from 4th of July. It's like 6 days away. So I just filmed, and I'm going to go ahead and, thank you, go ahead and put the film together for something closer for the 4th of July. Now, I want to do one thing. Let me see if that's... Oh, I know what it is. Now, this is... Unfortunately, this is log. And I didn't get a chance to... Huh. Wait a minute. Let me see something here. Oh, this is, here we go. You'll get a kick out of this. 1 second. You will get a kick out of this. Look who we have. Look who we have in our parade.
I'm standing down here holding it, and I look up. You, shorty of all, you're holding it all the way up to your shoulder, so it's like this. I'm like, God, I have to move it. We can trade you out. Newbies can hold them. Newbies can hold them. I'm making my script on these cards.
Charm City Ghostbusters. We have a Ghostbusters people.
So, I've heard there's ghosts down on Main Street, Sykesville.
Yeah, but
Well, you have to do some work, right?
they get a pass. It's a historic district.
Oh, they get a pass because it's historic district. Let me see your backpack. That's
Oh, the backpack?
Incredible. Now, who made those?
Well, it depends on the pack, but this one was handmade.
It's incredible.
Yeah, so pieced together.
Fantastic.
Sure thing. Hey, you guys want to assemble for a group photo to begin with?
So we had the Ghostbusters, Charm City Ghostbusters. Here's some more comments. Congratulations on your documentary. Would you consider doing an overview of the production? Yeah, I probably will. Eric says, just tried using arrow keys for one frame progression. Seems fine. For auditioning your audio in the timeline. It's not just one frame progression. It's skimming the audio. Apparently the problem. I've heard that from a dozen people. That's an issue. From people that use it all the time. So I know it's there. Raiders, of course. One of my neighbors who works for Danish broadcast TV as a journalist tells me that they are also using iPhones as cameras in situations where big rig will attract too much attention. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody has iPhones. The quality of the iPhone 15 Pro Max is superb. It is absolutely superb. So pulling out an iPhone is not unusual. Everybody's got them taking pictures, snapping pictures. They don't know if you're filming in 4K Apple log with your 5 times optical zoom lens. These go in a lot of situations where big rigs don't work. Now, of course, there's room for everything. If you want to use a red camera on a production, that's completely fine. I like the iPhone, and I have my Lumix S5 Mark IIX for low light situations. I like them both. They work very, very well. So the audio scrubbing frame, I've seen that repeated again and again, so I'm sure that's a real thing. Too many people have told me about that. Let me go down here real quick. So I have another question while we're looking for, let me see, where's that link? There it is. I have a question for people working in Final Cut Pro. Let's go down here. Do you notice any loss in quality for the 5X zoom on iPhone? It's not a digital zoom, it's an optical zoom. But the camera / lens is not quite as good as the 1X. But I use my phone outside almost exclusively. I love the big screen. This big screen is phenomenal to film with. You know, my Lumix S5 Mark IIX, it's a small screen. Low light, it's not so good. So if I'm inside, usually I'll take my Lumix. like when I go to the theater later in July for the documentary, I will take my Lumix S5 Mark IIX. I didn't have it last time because the documentary film was shown in April and I didn't get my Lumix until May, so I didn't have it. This time, I'm absolutely taking it for low light situations, filming in a theater, filming the audience, filming the discussion, et cetera, et cetera. As far as quality, no, it's an optical zoom. It's not a digital zoom. It's the camera that the 5x uses is not quite as good as the 1 and 2X. So it's a little step, maybe a little different, but I know the optical quality is fine. It's optical, it's not digital, so it works really well. Let's look at this. These are some more problems that have been reported with Final Cut Pro 10.8. Final Cut Pro freezing after latest update on MacBook Pro M3. Now, something else that I've heard, let me pull this up. Something else that I've heard is there's a problem with using a trackpad in something in 10.8. Listen, there's a lot of bugs in 10.8 that should be fixed hopefully this coming week or the week after. Here it is. There is a 10.8 bug when manipulating on-screen controls for titles with a trackpad, whether on a MacBook or external Magic trackpad. That's 3 now. 3 bugs that we've heard about. Our friend Matthew O'Brien reported this on his YouTube channel 2 days ago. Absolutely. I reproduced it on my M1 Mac Studio Sonoma 14.5 using the Magic trackpad. So that's one. That's another one. Let's see what else we have. That's just one. Final Cut Pro. Let's see what other options. A bunch of other ones I've seen reported. Can't drag with Magic trackpad only in Final Cut Pro 10. That's probably related to the trackpad issue. Try turning off 3-finger dragging. Go to System Settings, Accessibility, Pointer Control, and click on Trackpad Options. That's a temporary situation workaround. I haven't heard this one. Final Cut lagging. When I edit audio in 10.8, it lags like crazy. I'm not using 10.8. So I downloaded it, tried it, did not update any of my libraries. So I just wanted to check a few things out. When I edit audio in 10.8, it lags like crazy. Okay, that's not good. Let's see if that gets fixed. See, start and end boxes in Ken Burns effect are frozen. These are all, I think these are all 10.8, I believe, issues. I haven't tried. These are just reports. I've heard of crashes as well on 10.8, so that's something else to consider. Bug report, 10.8 media playback error when positioned keyframes change from log to linear movement. It's not that unusual to get bug reports on a 10.8 on a full number update. It's not unusual. But like I said, Apple has turned around bug fixes in 2 weeks last year. Let's see if they do it again. Let me pull this comment up real quick. Earlier today, I made a recording with my DJI Mic 2 in windy conditions, not realizing I got dropped my dead cat. Boy, does that cat make a difference with regard to wind noise. I keep my DJI Mic 2 under my shirt. I put it right inside here and have the magnet on the outside. So it protects it from the wind, and also it looks a lot better than having a bigger capsule. I think that would help a lot. But yeah, that the wind muff, of course, it helps a lot. What does 10.8 require? I'm not sure what you mean. What Mac OS? Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Minimum system requirements, Mac OS 13.5 or later, 8 gigabytes of RAM. Listen, don't run Final Cut Pro with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Absolutely not. Metal capable card if you're on Intel. 5.8 gigabytes of available disk space. Some features require a Mac, Apple Silicon. Some features require internet access. Fees may apply. So those are the specs that it needs, but do not go with the minimum specs. If you go with minimum specs, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. Don't go with minimum specs. Didn't Apple kill or sharply reduce their support community, which I thought was a quick and excellent way of getting answers? Well, we were just on there. No, what they did, you're welcome. What they did was they reduced their online social media presence. They used to answer questions on Twitter. Apple support would open up a private conversation with you if you were having problems. They've reduced social media presence support. These communities are still open. So. But there's a lot of reports. Cannot cut the soundtrack? I have no idea what that means. There's the issue. Oh, is that on iPad? Yeah, that's on iPad. We're not going to talk about iPad because I don't use that. Overwrite to primary storyline bugged in 10.8. When I have multiple layers of clips above the primary storyline, I select them and then overwrite to primary storyline. Before this worked fine. Now the clips are being trimmed in weird ways. Unless there's some new settings I'm not aware of, this seems like a bug. No, that was introduced in 10.7, that feature. Go back to watch 10.7 tutorials and you'll see what's happening there. See, you're 10.6.8, but they changed that in 10.7. Something changed in 10.7. They had a feature where clips, I forget what it was. I don't use that often, but that changed in 10.7, I thought. If I'm not mistaken. Haven't thought about using the magnet to hide the mic inside my shirt. We'll be doing it next time. This is the reason why I'm watching these live streams. So I don't have my DJI mics handy, but I have this. I got a cheaper. This is my second version, which only records 16-bit audio and other things, but it still has the transmitter that hooks into the iPhone without a cable and stuff. So here, this is about the same size as the DJI. I just take it like this and put it right here and then put my magnet right there. And number one, it's away from the wind. It's plenty close to my mouth. It doesn't affect the sound, but it looks better. It looks better. So that's all. I always do this, even when I'm inside, just for the looks. It just looks better than the big transmitter sitting on the outside of your shirt. And here's something this is the new trend on people. All the people on YouTube, they talk to their mics like this, these little mics. It looks ridiculous. This is not what it's meant for. It's meant to be down here. It's not meant to be up like this close to your mouth. Oh, I have to be trendy and I have to do this. It looks ridiculous. If I was in an extremely noisy situation and wanted to be heard clearly, I might do this. Under normal circumstances, no. It's not meant for that. It's ridiculous. You look silly. You look unprofessional. Just do this like it's supposed to be. Put it wherever. I keep mine about this far away. It sounds fine. You don't do this. Every time I see that on YouTube, people just are so silly sometimes. They get a trend happens. Oh, I got to talk like this now to this is a lapel microphone. They do it with lapel microphones as well. Whatever. Hey kids, get off my lawn. That's what it is, right? But anyway, that's how I do my mics. So let's go back to our bug report for Final Cut Pro 10. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with this guy's complaint. Let's do this. Final Cut Pro trim and Ken Burns. When I drag a corner, handle adjust the crop in 10.8. There's too many bugs being reported. So I think there's going to be a bug fix this Tuesday or this Thursday, or the following Tuesday or Thursday. They'll probably they'll get most of the bugs fixed. Probably most of the bugs fixed. Not all of them. There's always bugs in every software release. Always bugs in every software release. Beautiful backyard. Nice and green. I think I showed you the video of my tree last week. I got the big tree taken down. I got the big tree taken down. What else do we have? Let me just see. This is the parade route. This is my phone. This is my phone video.
Do they ever fall on your legs?
On a gimbal. This is the parade route. This is Main Street, Sykesville, Maryland.
Happy 4th.
Right.
Sorry.
I'll pull up one more. Let me see what this is. I don't want that. Let's try this one. Oh, you know what? The only things I have are in log. Heck with it, I'll show you. This was shot in Apple log and I haven't graded it yet, but you'll see. There's the Ghostbusters. Oh, this was good. You'll have to excuse the raw log footage because I didn't put apply a LUT to it yet. But anyway, I had a good time. I filmed for about an hour and a half. I filmed my DJI Action 4 and my iPhone 15 Pro Max. My iPhone 15 Pro Max was on a gimbal. I had DJI Mic 2 going into the iPhone. So I had my mic under here, and I had a Sennheiser MKE 400 pointing forward. So any other reports of Final Cut Pro 10.8 bugs? I mean, there's a lot of them on the Final Cut Pro forum. A lot of them. So anyway, I do expect 10.8.01 this coming week, Tuesday. Won't be Thursday. I just thought of that. Thursday is the 4th of July in the United States. I don't think they're going to release a Final Cut Pro bug fix on the 4th of July. Okay, so if it doesn't come out like Monday or Tuesday, it'd probably be the next week. But I expect it certainly within 3 weeks. There's too many bugs being reported. Too many bugs, which is not that unusual. All righty. It's fairly, what is the temperature outside today? 88 degrees. It was hot this morning. The good thing was it was overcast. So didn't have direct sun. I noticed something this morning when I'm filming. I have different setups I have. I have a heavier setup for my phone that has a sunshade on it, and I need a heavier gimbal for that. So it's a little heavier than when I'm walking around. But I noticed today, when I shaded my eyes, I could see the screen a lot better. So I'm going to get a hat. It's like a sun hat or a cowboy hat or something, and wear that from now on when I'm out in this direct sunlight and I'm filming. I got an event coming up in Frederick, Maryland. They do the High Wheelers race, which is a really cool event. And I filmed that as well. So I'll be going up there later in July. And I'm going to get a hat for that. Because the hat, the sunshade over your eyes really helps see the screen. I have the brightness up to 100%. It doesn't. It's still hard to see. I just happen to have this handy, so I figured I'd show it to you. Since you asked, this is what I use. This is a homemade sunshade. It's cardboard, and I have black tape over it. I have counterweights because the phone is too light for this. This is the brand new Cinepeer. This holds up to 6.7 pounds. It's only $200. It's incredible value. So if I'm going to be in the sun, I have this. I put my iPhone in there, and then the gimbal itself, it'll hold the weight. It'll hold the weight. So, it looks something like this when I'm filming in the sun, but I use a gimbal for my phone. I use a gimbal almost always when I'm walking. This is way overkill. You don't need a gimbal to use a sunshade. If you don't have a gimbal, you can make one yourself. Now, I have it cut out. This is about 3 or 4 inches. So this helps a lot. This is a counterweight because the phone's actually too light for this gimbal. This gimbal is fantastic. It's just, there's another counterweight here, another one there. It's $249. Right now it's on sale for you can get it for $200. I love this gimbal. I mean, it's really good. It also holds my Lumix S5 Mark IIX as well. But that's what I'm talking about. I made this myself. I just cut it out myself. So, you don't need a gimbal. You don't need a gimbal to do a sunshade. You can make one yourself with the cage and stuff. But I use a gimbal. Let me pull that up for you. Getting all kind of tips this morning. Oh, you know what? I didn't get that. I use the Insta360. Here it is. No, that's not it. The Insta360 for the phone without the extra equipment on it. Let me get this for you. This is an incredible buy, and I really like it. It's called the, what is it called? Zion Cine. Here it is. This is it. Site, and you just look for a coupon code. Yeah, you can use any gimbal. Like I said, I use the Insta360 when I'm filming inside, and I'm not using sunshades and stuff. Right now, I have sunshades, a lot of weight, so the Insta360 won't hold it. But if I'm inside, I use the Insta360. It's a great gimbal, lightweight, but you can't add lenses and stuff and whatever. This is my outdoor setup. And you have to counterweight it. At least I do. That's what I do. Anybody watching it from over there on the X platform? Let me see. I think so. Yeah, we got over 20 people watching, or 22 people watching over on X. Absolutely. So, Final Cut Pro team, please give us a bug fix soon. This is for the Final Cut Pro team. Give us a bug fix update. I know you're working on it because there's too many bugs been reported. Absolutely. Give us a bug fix. Can't be next Thursday because that's the 4th of July. Roz says she likes the start time today. Yeah, well, we might switch it around a little bit. We might switch it around, but 1 o'clock seemed like it worked. I spent an hour and a half in the sun. I got baked in the sun doing the filming for the parade, and then I figured I'd come in here and do this as well. Absolutely. So anything else? Any other, I mean, there's bugs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I get a kick out of people who get offended when you report bugs. If you're a Final Cut Pro evangelist, not me. I'm not an evangelist. I'm a proponent, and I support Final Cut, and I promote it, but I'm not going to follow Final Cut blindly. I don't do that with anything. I don't do that with anything, not even Apple itself. I could criticize Apple on a lot of things that they do, but I like their hardware. I love their phones. I love this iPad Pro. Don't like the mouse so much because of the charging port. I'm not buying Vision Pro. Not really interested in that. We'll have to see how that goes. But so here's my prediction. Within the next 2 weeks, we're going to see 10.8.0.1 bug fix. I mean, it could be, they could have another feature sneaking out. I don't know. But bug fixes for sure. And then we're going to see the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit in November. Similar to what we had last year. I don't know what hotel we're staying at yet, but same time frame, same kind of a deal, going to see Apple campus. I know things, but I got to wait for Future Media Concepts to announce them before I do, but I'm allowed to. Well, I'm just hinting at the fact that there's going to be another Creative Summit. That's as much information as you're going to get right now. And if there's going to be another Creative Summit, which there is going to be, we're going to get a presentation from the Final Cut Pro team. And they're probably going to show us something new. Now, last year they showed us 10.7, Logic 10.8. They showed us Logic 10.8. Well, Logic was updated to version 11 6 months later. Logic Pro jumped from 10.8 to Logic Pro 11 in 6 months. Final Cut Pro is at 10.8. 6 months from now, a little less than 6 months from now, is the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. It's a good time to preview Final Cut Pro 11, whatever that is. I do expect text-based editing, but I've been expecting that for a while. That'll be a really, really nice addition to Final Cut Pro. Really, really nice addition to Final Cut Pro. I'm just saying 10 point, I'm just saying 11 because Logic did it. Logic went from 10.8 to 11 in 6 months. I expect Final Cut Pro, it could do exactly the same thing. We're at 10.8 now, finally, and we could go to 11 in 2024, at least a preview of 11 at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. The best thing about the Vision Pro and living in Denmark, is that I will know if the ultra-wide viewing option coming for Vision OS will make a feasible option for editing in Final Cut Pro. Yeah, I like editing on my MacBook Pro. I don't, editing on the screen is fine if you want to do that. Now, the Vision Pro on an airplane trip would be phenomenal. Phenomenal. That would be so cool to watch movies on Vision Pro when you're on an airplane. I'm excited about watching movies on my new iPad. I got a 13-inch, I got the top of the line, 13-inch space black iPad Pro with the Pro Pencil and 1 terabyte SSD because I can plug SSDs into it for using with LumaFusion. So it works really, really well. I'm excited about watching a movie when I go to Cupertino to the Creative Summit on my new iPad Pro instead of my old iPad Air 2, which was a smaller screen, which was still cool. But, I'm excited about that. I can't imagine a Vision Pro. If I had unlimited funds, I would buy one. But this year I bought the iPad Pro, $1,800. I got it on sale for $150 off. I got the pencil on sale for $10 off. I'm going to buy an iPhone 16 Pro Max in September. That's a no-brainer because I use the phone all the time. But this year, I'm keeping my 15 Pro Max because I don't have two good phones that are both USB-C. I sold my 14 because it was Lightning. Can't stand Lightning. Lightning is such old technology. Lightning was USB 2 speeds, not even USB 3 speeds. So I'm keeping my iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I'll get the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So I'll have two good iPhone cameras, plus my Lumix S5 Mark IIX I have 3 prime lenses and a 20-60 zoom lens. I might get one more lens, but I don't use it that much. I use my iPhone a lot more. But I will be taking the Lumix to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit because it's dark sometimes inside. It is dark sometimes inside. Let's just check on something here. I'm just going to check while I'm talking to you. So this is the page that you last year was really, really good. This is the place you want to go. FCP Creative Summits with an S.com. FCPCreativeSummits.com. And this will be similar. I would say, this would be a good template for what's going to happen this year. This is last year, 2023. We stayed at a hotel that was different than the presentations. It's about a mile away, so we had to get back and forth. Kind of hoping we go back to the Juniper, which was really, really good. Juniper Cupertino. Last year, normally, the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit is $1,000. Used to be $1,000. Last year was $299 because they had financial help from their sponsors, probably a lot of financial help from Apple to bring that price down from $1,000 to $299. $299 is a really, really reasonable price for that. for 3 days of training, going to Apple campus, interacting with friends, going out to dinner. And that included, last year, they fed us box lunches every day. We had an area we went out for box lunches. That included the box lunch. So you didn't have to buy lunch. $2.99 is a great price. Now, you still got to pay for a hotel, still got to pay for transportation to get there, and you still have to take off work. So those are some considerations. But the price used to be $1,000. Last year it was $2.99. Hopefully it's going to be the same this year. I'm looking forward to it. It's my favorite event of the year. It's my favorite Final Cut Pro event of the year. Absolutely. All right. Is that enough bug report for you, or do you need some more? Do you need some more bug reports? Let's see what we got. There's a lot of bugs. Not unusual. Not specific to Final Cut Pro. Not specific to Apple. Lots of bugs. Well, when I say lots, there's probably 4 to 6 bugs that I think are legitimate. Here's the thing. If you have a bug and nobody else is reporting that same bug, it might be you. It might be your setup, your media, a plugin is not updated, your hardware. But if your bug is also repeated by other people, it gives it more credence. So some of these bugs have been reported by multiple people, et cetera, et cetera. I do have a question for everybody. When you're editing in Final Cut Pro, do you leave all the palettes open? Do you leave the inspector open? Do you leave your browser open? Do you leave all your stuff open? I usually don't. I use keyboard shortcuts, Command 4 to open and close the inspector. If I'm not using the inspector, I close it. If I'm using it, that's fine. I'll leave it open. But Command 4 opens and closes the inspector. You have keyboard shortcut to open and close the effects browser. You have a keyboard shortcut to open and close the browser itself, and just see. The browser, and just see the viewer in the timeline. I don't keep those palettes open. There is a person who was having problems with his. It might have been related to 10. I think it was related to 10.8. But when he did a screenshot, one thing I noticed was he had the transform tool on. And he was just running this playhead. He was running his timeline with the transform tool selected. Now, I don't keep that selected. I found lots of problems, not just with 10.8. If I'm not transforming something, I turn it off. I've had problems with the mouse wasn't working right. It would jump around and this and that. I never keep the transform tool on when I'm just playing back in the timeline or doing something else. I turn it on and I turn it off. If I'm transforming, I turn it on. If I'm editing somewhere else on the timeline, I turn it off. Especially the transform tool, I've noticed, can cause bugs. I'm saying, what's going on? This isn't working. And I look up the transform tools on, turn it off, and everything works fine. I'm just curious how everybody else operates. I don't leave the inspector open. I don't leave any timeline index. Nope, don't leave it open unless I need it. Keyboard shortcut, open and close it. Effects browser, open and close it. Titles, nope. There's too many titles. I have too many titles. It's constantly updating the database or whatever the heck it's doing, and it slows the system down. So I close all those palettes if I'm not using them, and especially the transform tool. I'm just wondering what everybody else does. I'm just wondering what everybody else does. All righty. we're doing good. We're doing good. This coming week, the 4th of July is on Independence Day for the United States. The birth of our nation is on July the 4th when we declared our independence from Great Britain. It's a big celebration. 1776, July the 4th, 1776 is when we declared our independence, and we've been doing stuff ever since then. So that's a big holiday in the United States. It's one of the biggest. And then, here's my microphone, just pulling it in just so it's just out of view. So if that's Thursday, I don't think we're going to see an update to Final Cut Pro on that date. That would be a date I would say no. That's not going to happen. When I posted we have a Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Final Cut TV Radio. And I posted in there that I'm expecting 10.8.01 bug fix update. Initially, I said 10 next week, but now I realize that's a holiday week. So if it doesn't happen Monday or Tuesday, it probably won't happen until the following week. It could happen Monday or Tuesday. They could certainly do a couple of bug fixes, do the first bug fix to fix some of the bugs, and do a second bug fix a couple weeks later to fix more bugs, maybe add a feature or two. That's not out of the question. But in any event, if you're in the United States, happy 4th of July to all of our people in the United States this Thursday. Independence Day, birth of our nation. And I'll be putting up the video that I shot today. I'm going to do it in LumaFusion. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to pull all that stuff. I put it on a little 4 terabyte drive, a little tiny drive. I have a LumaFusion folder, plug it in via USB-C. It's actually Thunderbolt on the iPhone. It's actually a Thunderbolt port on the iPad Pro. It's not a USB 3 port. It's a Thunderbolt port. Excuse me, plug in it, put all the data on this little drive, put it in there, and edit in LumaFusion. I'm fascinated with LumaFusion right now. It doesn't do everything that Final Cut Pro does, and Final Cut Pro is still my number one, but LumaFusion is very, very fun to edit with. The community is fantastic. They help out. They do tutorials, constant tutorials. Very friendly community. And I think I've gotten about 80% of stuff I can do in LumaFusion, maybe 85%. I'm really up there. There's a couple of things I'd like to see changed. One of the things I'd like to see changed is when I'm editing in Final Cut, sometimes I'll select an edit point and I'll move it one frame at a time, left or right, with the caret keys, back and forth, one frame left, right. Or I'll select a clip that's not in the primary storyline, and I'll move it one frame at a time. I can't do that in LumaFusion. You have to do it manually with the pencil. You can zoom in and move it or move the edge. I'd like to be able to do that with just a icon on the screen. Tap, 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 tap to move an edit point or move the clip. That's one of the things that right now is one of the things I like to see. But you can apply LUTs in LumaFusion. You can import LUTs in LumaFusion. I do that. I shoot, my DJI Action 4 is set up to shoot in 4K M-Log, whatever their log version is. I think it's M-Log for some reason. D-Log, M-Log, whatever. I shoot log in 4K on my DJI Action 4. Most of the time, I shoot in my Blackmagic camera on my iPhone, Apple Log H.265. Most of the time. There's sometimes I'm shooting 2 cameras front and back. I can't do that. Doesn't shoot log. I use the Rode app that shoots 2 cameras and you have 2 separate files. That's just whatever the color profile is. Our friend Chris said, Depends on how much I'm going back to, so I'll keep it inspector open. Usually I have that or the media title, but rarely both. I usually do keep the effects and transitions closed. Right. No, I understand. If I'm using it, I'll keep it open. If I'm not using it, I close it. Timeline index, same way. If I'm using the timeline index, I keep it open. Once I'm done with it, I close it. Keyboard shortcuts. Titles, absolutely keep them closed if I'm not adding title, because it goes through the database and it starts, the pizza wheel starts spinning. It's updating. I keep that closed for sure. I keep as many palettes closed that I'm not using. It's just like the analogy I used is when I'm in my house, when I'm in a room, I have lights on. When I leave the room, I turn the lights off. When I come back in the room, I turn them back on again. It's simple to open and close palettes in Final Cut with keyboard shortcuts. Simple. The inspector, Command 4, opens and closes. I don't keep the inspector open. I don't keep the titles open. I don't keep the effects open. I don't keep the timeline index open. I don't have my transform tool selected. I don't have the color scopes open. I don't have the multicam open. I open and close them as needed. As needed. I will be going in a few minutes. I'm going to see Denmark beat Germany in what we call football. Yes, I'm familiar with that. And you American soccer, being very optimistic, that is. When I was my band went to England, UK in 79, late 70s, with, during the Elvis Costello era, during the Graham Parker, Dr. Feelgood era. We were over there. We were in those veins doing original music. And we played football, with the neighborhood kids across the street. We were staying in Kingston, I think, all the way up north on one of the last subway tube lines at that point. And we'd play the neighborhood kids, and they were really good at football. They call it football. So I'm very familiar that they call football soccer, yes. Very, very familiar with that. Let's see who's watching now. A lot of people watching on X and a lot of people watching on YouTube. And once again, I have no statistics for Facebook. When I stop the stream, there'll be hundreds and hundreds of views on Facebook, but it's not being reported in during the live stream. Something I guess Facebook just does not do. Just does not do. Any other bugs we want to talk about while we have it? Because I won't be back until next Saturday. So I have to say that the live multicam on the iPad, Final Cut iPad, looks very cool. I really like it. Final Cut camera for the live multicam is excellent. It works very, very well. You can control the cameras. You can control the cameras wirelessly and live multicam. You can do a lot of other things. That looks really cool. But if you take it away from Final Cut for iPad and just use it standalone on your phone, it's like a mid-level camera app. It's not as good as Blackmagic camera, which just had a 1.5 update, by the way, for free. It's available for free. Blackmagic is not charging for it. And the Kino app, I bought that as well. I got it for $10. It's normally $20. $10 for a perpetual license. It's a no-brainer. But I have to have the ability to switch cameras while I'm recording. I don't want to stop recording, pick a lens, start recording. I miss 4 to 5 seconds of filming. No. I want to just start recording and switch lenses and cameras as I'm recording, like I did today for the parade. I went from ultra wide to 1x to 2x to 5x and back and forth and never stopped the recording using the Blackmagic camera app. Okay? The iPhone, the native Apple camera app, does that the best. They have the best way of switching cameras live while you're recording. Now, why in the world Final Cut Camera is supposed to be a pro camera app. Apple's native camera app is supposed to be more of a consumer camera app. The native camera app can switch cameras while recording live. Final Cut Camera cannot. Didn't you talk to the people over there that developed the Apple camera app? You can't do that with the Final Cut camera app. It's supposed to be a pro level. Now, they did add audio meters. It did automatically recognize and connect it to my DJI Mic 2. Excellent points. But it's very limited in the codecs. I've already talked about this. So let's see what happens over the next couple of updates when it updates. Let's see if they get the things that I want to see. Got to have LUT support. Got to be able to switch cameras while I'm recording live. I really need more flavors of Apple Log than just ProRes HQ. I don't shoot ProRes HQ with Apple Log. I shoot Blackmagic. How can Blackmagic camera have those features and Apple's own camera app doesn't? The native camera app doesn't, and Final Cut camera doesn't. You're only stuck, very inflexible. You're only stuck with ProRes HQ. That's the only flavor you can do. Blackmagic has 5, 6, 7 flavors you can shoot Apple Log in, and Kino does as well. So hopefully that's coming. Hopefully that's coming. So you all know that we're live Final Cut TV and Coffee every Saturday morning, normally at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight. But we're going to change. Maybe we'll go to 12 noon sometimes. Maybe we'll do 1 o'clock. Just keep an eye on the YouTube channel. Subscribe over there at YouTube, and you'll be notified when we go live. Or you can join our Facebook group. Not that one. Well, there's the YouTube channel, youtube.com at Richard Taylor TV. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Absolutely. Let's give a little boost to the Final Cut Pro team. They watch this live stream. Final Cut Pro team watches the live stream. Get us the bug fix for 10.8 out, please. This week would be great. You got Monday or Tuesday. You never do one on Wednesday. Thursday's the 4th of July. So I doubt you're going to do it on Thursday. Monday or Tuesday would be fine. Monday or Tuesday would be absolutely fine. Anything else we want to talk about while we're here? So my prediction. Final Cut 10.8.01 bug fix within the next 2 weeks. There might be more than one bug fix. They might do first batch of bugs that they've encountered and people have reported. You have to report these bugs. You can't just go on Facebook and Twitter and complain about them. Report them to the Apple team. Report them to the Apple team. How do you report them to the Apple team? This is how you do it. Go to FCPX.tv. This is the longest running Final Cut Pro 10 Facebook group, period. Hands down. This is the longest running Final Cut Pro 10 Facebook group. Page. Site. This is the longest running one. I've been doing it since 10 came out, 13 years. I've never taken a break. I've never shut it down. I didn't quit. I'm not a quitter. But anyway, FCPX.tv, and look right here. Look right here. Send your requests, bug reports, or feedback to the Final Cut Pro team here. It's right there, fcpx.tv. Click on that, you go right to the bug report. Fill out your thing, whatever your bug is, your feedback is, it's right there. fcpx.tv. It's easy to start a website. It's easy to start a podcast. What's hard is to keep the website going year after year, month after month, year after year. Keep the podcast going month after month, year after year. I've been doing Final Cut Pro Radio for, I don't know how many years, 8 years, 9 years. This website is the longest running Final Cut Pro 10 website in existence, and I update it. Right now I got this one, master list of Final Cut Pro tutorials. There's our friends Steve and Mark, Ripple Training. There's our friend Dylan Bates, Final Cut Pro. Our friend Jen Jager. I met her at the Creator Summit last year. Our other Dylan friend, Dylan John. Another one. Final Cut Pro update, finally released. Eric, our friend Eric from Germany. There's our happy birthday. Final Cut Pro with Brett Williams, Tangier Clark, myself, Serena Catania, Philip Hodges. We had a birthday party. We came on the air at 1 o'clock on a Thursday, exactly when Final Cut Pro 10.8 came out. Came out at 1 o'clock on that Thursday. Now, I scheduled this a couple weeks in advance because I got to schedule all these people. I scheduled it at 1 o'clock that Thursday because I figured if Final Cut Pro 10.8 wasn't out by then, it was coming out that afternoon, and I was absolutely 100% correct. So anyway, I got these. This is over there, Final Cut Pro, fcpx.tv, and then we got articles about Final Cut Pro. Here's our friend, Final Cut Camera and Final Cut Pro for iPad 2 by Ian Anderson. So it's over there, right on the main page. Top request list. This is the request list. 101 top requests for Final Cut Pro in 2024. Of course, your list may be different. Of course it would be. These are mine. These are mine. So we finally got the scrolling timeline. That's been crossed off. The Final Cut Pro team they have seen this list. They know what it is. I like to see, these are what I like to see. Pro audio features, audio mixer, master volume control, et cetera, et cetera. Text-based editing, that's the big one. That's really the big one I'd like to see in this next big update. Whether it's 10.8.2, 3, 4, 5, or it's Final Cut Pro 11, not out of the question coming up. This is where you want to go. fcpx.tv. Main page. You can send your bug reports or feedback to the Final Cut Pro team right there on that link. It's easy to remember. You don't have to worry about it. Easy to remember. All righty. We'll be back next Saturday, I think at 10 o'clock. I don't think there's anything going on next Saturday. I don't expect, if there's a bug fix update this week, I'll come back on for a brief period of time. We'll discuss it. This is all about the listeners, the viewers, watching and communicating to the Final Cut Pro team. The Final Cut Pro team watches this broadcast. They can see your comments and stuff. We will not tolerate unprofessional behavior. I don't tolerate it on this channel. I don't tolerate it in the Facebook groups. If you're going to, you can criticize or comment or whatever in a professional way. Do it the same way you would do it if you're talking to the person in person. If you had the Final Cut Pro team sitting right in front of you, talk to them the same way online as you would if they were in person. Has anybody else experienced any bugs in Final Cut Pro 10.8? We saw there was a lot of them over there in the Apple community, a lot of reports. Oh, one of the things they did with 10.8, they took away the ability to burn a disc, right? You can't burn DVDs anymore directly from Final Cut. I don't think I've ever burned a DVD from Final Cut, but I understand that people have been doing that. I mean, there's no disc burner in a MacBook Pro. There's no disc burner on any Macs for years and years and years. I do have a Blu-ray burner that I bought about a year ago. I don't think I've ever used it. I might have used it to play back something I needed to play back. I think it was a David Lynch film on Blu-ray that I had. It wasn't that expensive, $100 or less. USB-C, it seems to work. Now, here's something else. I am on Ventura. Right now, I'm on Sonoma, only for this live stream. I have never updated to Sonoma because there's a couple of things that don't work, apps that I haven't been able to figure out how to get them to work, and apps that I absolutely rely on. So I never jumped over to Sonoma. But I am jumping over to Sequoia when it comes out. There's too many AI features that I really, really like in that. So I'll probably do a dual boot or a triple boot system. Right now I'm on a dual boot system. I have both Sonoma and Ventura on my internal SSD, and I can boot into either one. And I can boot into either one. So I'll probably make a third. Is it a partition or whatever the heck they do on the hard drives these days? And I'll put Sequoia on it because I like Sequoia. Sonoma, there's no real reason for me to go over, except for I used Ecamm in it. Because I have this, and I have this, and I have this. That's the only reason I use Sonoma with Ecamm for those features. I don't have them in Ventura. But day-to-day is in Ventura. Everything works there, and I have no reason to jump over to Sonoma. But I will go to Sequoia because I like some features when that comes out of beta. I'm not going to put a beta on. There's no rush for me to do that. So I don't think I've ever skipped over an entire OS before, but I have this time. Is it a terrible OS? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's no reason for me to switch from Ventura to Sonoma, except for those balloons and confetti in the live stream. That's the only reason I'm here. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here for today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to these live streams. This is for all the listeners and viewers, et cetera, et cetera. We already thanked the Final Cut Pro team. Final Cut Pro team, please get us 10.8.01. If you can get it this week, accolades to you. If not, get it the following week. You have Monday and Tuesday this week to get it out. But if you only have some of the bugs fixed, give us some of the bug fixed. Then you can do 10.8.0.2 in a couple of weeks or a month later. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. If whatever you got ready, we'll take it next week. We'll take it. Happy 4th of July to all the people in the United States. It's a big holiday here. It's the birth of our nation. And that's on Thursday because I have no plan unless 10.8.0.1 comes out Monday or Tuesday. I don't plan on being back here live. So I'll be back next Saturday. Where? Final Cut TV and Coffee, 10 o'clock, probably, but it might be 11 or 12 or 1 on Saturdays. I'll keep doing these. I'm having a good time. You obviously are having a good time. Our numbers are way up. People are enjoying this. Our numbers are way up. So fantastic. Go over there and tell people to subscribe to my YouTube channel and all that stuff. And I'll see you next Saturday. Unless something happens in the world of Final Cut Pro this week, I'll be back next Saturday. We'll have to see how that goes. All right, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to the Final Cut Pro team. Absolutely thanks to the Final Cut Pro team. We're looking forward to seeing your updates to 10.8. We're looking forward to seeing you at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit with whatever surprise you have for us then. Looking forward to it. That'll be in November of this year. Details to follow from future media conferences when they get it organized and locked down. Everything's locked down. They'll make the announcement. We'll come back on and we'll talk about it. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Richard Taylor. This is Final Cut TV and Coffee. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Saturday, if not before. Thanks.